In the hushed, high-security offices of Langley, Virginia, a man who doesn't look like your average CIA operative walks through metal detectors and fingerprint scanners. His name is Charlie Heller, a wiry, awkward, brilliant cryptographer. Unlike the suave agents depicted in movies, Charlie's world is one of algorithms, code ciphers, and digital patterns. He's the guy who deciphers a rogue email thread that leads to the interception of a biological weapon shipment, not the guy who kicks down doors. At home, he's far removed from global conspiracies. Charlie lives with his wife, Sarah, a photojournalist, in a quiet suburban neighborhood. Their life is modest, peaceful, and filled with shared projects. The latest? Charlie has been restoring a small vintage aircraft in his garage, a Cessna 140. It's a surprise for Sarah, who once dreamed of flying. Every evening, their marriage is solid, affectionate, and unpretentious. But something about the quietness of their life feels too perfect, almost like the calm before a storm. One day, Sarah receives an unexpected photography assignment in London, a last-minute fill-in for a colleague. The opportunity is too good to pass up. Though Charlie is nervous, he encourages her to go. She flies out with the promise of returning in a few days. 4:11 p.m., July 25th, 2025. Light Elijah. While she's away, Charlie busies himself at Langley. On the surface, all is normal. But deep within the agency's data archives, Charlie stumbles across something that stops him cold. A flagged communication thread between suspected arms dealers and a known terrorist financier. It's encrypted, but Charlie is among the best. Piece by piece, he begins to unpack it, growing increasingly disturbed by what he sees. Meanwhile, across the ocean, Sarah's final call to Charlie is sweet, brief, and ordinary. She mentions a late meeting near King's Cross Station. She sounds a little tired, but happy. Charlie ends the call with a loving, "I miss you already." Then the explosion hits. News breaks fast. A massive explosion near King's Cross. 4:12 p.m., July 25th, 2025. Light Elijah. Early reports blame a gas leak. Then it's upgraded to a suspected bombing. Then finally the truth, a terrorist attack. Scores dead, even more injured. Charlie is paralyzed by the screen as emergency broadcasts roll in. He frantically calls Sarah. No answer. He tries again, and again, and again. His hands tremble. The images on TV grow more horrifying by the hour. Emergency responders, body bags, wreckage. Then the confirmation comes. Sarah was there. Sarah is gone. And in a moment, Charlie's world implodes. Spiraling. The following days are a haze. At CIA headquarters, Charlie returns to work, barely functioning. His team knows to keep their distance. He pours himself into decrypting more files, obsessed, unrelenting, manic. A few keywords buried in his data scrape suggest something sinister. The attack may not have been random. A name pops up. Horst Schiller, a former East German agent turned arms dealer. His last known location? Somewhere in Berlin. He'd been suspected of orchestrating rogue operations in the Middle East and laundering black market weapons through Eastern Europe. The more Charlie digs, the more he realizes Sarah's death wasn't collateral damage. It was a consequence of a covert CIA operation that went sideways. He rushes to his superior, Director Alex Moore, and demands answers, but he's met with cold professionalism. "Charlie," Moore says, "you're not field. You're not cleared for that information. Let the team handle it." That's when something inside Charlie snaps. He's not going to let the team handle it. Not this time. Charlie starts working off the grid. He breaks into level 4 access files. He discovers something horrific. The CIA was conducting an unauthorized drone strike operation under the radar, targeting arms traffickers, but with staggering civilian casualties. To cover it up, they allowed the narrative of terrorist bombing to stick. Sarah, it turns out, had photographed one of their key operatives. She had gotten too close to the truth, and someone wanted her silenced. And they succeeded. Charlie now knows the names of those responsible. 4 Black Ops operatives used as intermediaries for Horst Schiller. He brings this to Deputy Director Samantha O'Brien. But again, he's turned away. "We're building a case," she says. "We'll get them, but it has to be done quietly." Quiet doesn't sit well with Charlie anymore. That night, Charlie takes all the classified data he has and burns it to CDs. He leaves one at his office, one in a safety deposit box, and one he hides in plain sight inside a jukebox at his favorite dive bar. Each CD contains damning proof of CIA involvement in covert killings and false flag narratives. He schedules an internal meeting with Director Moore. There, Charlie delivers his message. You give me the green light to go after these people, or I leak everything. Moore glares at him. You're bluffing. Charlie slides one of the CDs across the table. Try me. That's when things shift. The CIA doesn't cave, but they can't ignore him anymore. And they definitely can't afford a public leak. So they offer a compromise. They allow him to train for 6 weeks at the farm, the CIA's elite paramilitary training facility. They'll give him basic tools, supervision, and then they'll cut him loose. It's a suicide mission wrapped in plausible deniability. Charlie doesn't care. He's all in. Charlie Heller arrives at the farm, the CIA's covert training ground nestled deep in the forests of Virginia, with nothing but a duffel bag and a head full of revenge. Unlike the other recruits, grizzled ex-soldiers, former Navy SEALs, and hardened analysts, Charlie is a civilian, a computer guy, a ghost from the digital world. They call him the librarian behind his back. Some are more direct. You don't belong here, Heller. But Charlie doesn't flinch. He's not here to make friends. He's here to learn how to kill. Training begins with the basics: weapons handling, tactical driving, hand-to-hand combat, surveillance. Charlie fails almost every exercise. He struggles to hold a Glock steady. He's winded after 2 minutes of sparring. He vomits after a training op simulating a high-speed car chase. Enter Colonel Robert Henderson, Lawrence Fishburne, a no-nonsense instructor with a storied past in covert operations. He watches Charlie struggle and dismisses him as a liability. His first destination, Paris. Gretchen Frank is a mystery, former Mossad, known for her brutal efficiency and for flipping allegiances whenever it suited her. Charlie tracks her to a high-end medical clinic in Paris, where she's undergoing some kind of immune therapy. Passes security using a hacked badge, entraps Gretchen in a hypobaric oxygen chamber, a pressurized room used for therapy. He rigs the system to flood with highly allergenic pollen compounds. Gretchen, caught off guard, begins to panic. He speaks to her through the intercom. You were there when Sarah died. Tell me who gave the order, and I'll let you breathe. She resists at first, mocking him. You're not a killer. I can see it in your eyes. But as the chamber starts to spin and her breath shortens, she cracks. Charlie shuts off the chamber and opens the door. But he doesn't kill her. He lets her walk. As she stumbles out onto the street, gasping, she's immediately hit by a speeding black van. Back at Langley, O'Brien begins to suspect that Charlie may actually be succeeding. She urges Moore to recall him before he becomes a bigger liability. Moore, however, has already dispatched a Black Ops team to track and neutralize him if necessary. The agency doesn't want a rogue agent with access to classified materials creating international incidents. Charlie, now fully off-grid, heads for Istanbul, his next lead, is using his tech skills to tap into local networks. He tracks Elish, the South African demolitionist, to a private arms deal in a Turkish bathhouse. Wins by detonating a small, non-lethal charge that knocks Elish into a marble bench, cracking his skull. Charlie retrieves Elish's burner phone and escapes into the night. On it, he finds a map. Charlie watches from the rafters, using a thermal scope to track movements. Just as the deal begins, he broadcasts the feed live to Henderson, who's now watching from an off-grid cabin back in the States, gathering evidence for when the time is right. The world now knows what Langley tried to bury. In Washington, D.C., political fires ignite. O'Brien, once the untouchable deputy director, is summoned before a classified Senate committee. It's a rogue operation, she insists. Schiller had value, but field agents acted beyond their directive. I warned them. This is a tragedy. She's trying to spin it. Unfortunately for her, Henderson isn't done yet. Weeks later, Henderson delivers a thumb drive to a journalist from The Intercept. On it, phone calls, emails, internal CIA memos proving O'Brien authorized covert partnerships with Schiller's network under the guise of counter-terror intelligence gathering. Her empire collapses. She's forced to resign due to health reasons. But everyone knows the truth. The agency's reputation is shattered. One evening, he receives a coded message through an encrypted channel. A news broadcast plays in the background of a public cafe. Former CIA Deputy Director Samantha O'Brien was found dead in an apparent suicide. No foul play suspected. But Charlie doesn't believe in coincidences anymore. He turns off the feed, sips his coffee, and walks out into the snow. The final scene fades in on Charlie, looking into a mirror. He whispers, "They called me an amateur." Maybe I was. But sometimes, amateurs are the only ones who care enough to do the right thing. Fade to black. If you enjoyed this intense thriller recap of The Amateur 2025, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you don't miss more movie breakdowns like this one. Got a movie you want recapped? Drop it in the comments. Until next time, stay curious, stay watching.